Hey, what's up guys? Do you want to turn your paint from looking like this to this? Well, stay tuned. I'm going to show you guys everything that you guys need to know and have in order to achieve these incredible results. Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to another episode of Chemical Guys Detail Garage. Today we're continuing the series on this Prius. You may have seen the previous episodes where Henry deep cleaned the wheels and then he washed it, and now it's time to correct this paint because this thing has a ton of scratches. Now I know you may be looking at it and saying, what scratches? Well, I'm going to show you what I'm talking about right now with my Chemical Guys LED inspection light. So we went ahead and cut off the lights for a better visual so that you guys can better see what's really going on this paint. So you guys can see that there's a ton of scratches, swirl marks, there's oxidation, there's water spots, there's hazing, there's marring. There's a ton of stuff going on with this paint that needs correction. All right, so now that we've assessed the paint, it's time to start detailing. So the first thing that we're gonna do is throw on some gloves and we're gonna clay bar the paint. Now the reason we're gonna clay bar the paint is to decontaminate it prior to us polishing, because that's the proper prep work that we're gonna need in order to have a smooth, contaminant-free surface that we can polish out. That way that stuff doesn't get on our pad and scratch the paint even more. Now you guys can definitely tell that this paint needs clay bars simply because of how contaminated it sounds and feels. So just check this out. Your paint should not sound like that. And if it does, you need to pick up a clay bar right now for your paint. So we're gonna throw on our gloves. And then the first thing that we're gonna be using is gonna be our clay luber paired with one of our medium grade clay bars. Now I decided to go with the medium grade clay bar because this is a nice balance between a light and a heavy clay bar. So depending on what we're really working with here, this car has not been detailed for a long time. So we can, I think it's safe to assume that there's plenty of contaminants on there that we're gonna need to remove. And odds are that a light clay bar is probably not the right one for this vehicle simply because of how neglected it was when we got it in the first place. So we got our clay luber right here, which is a synthetic lubricant. And then also have a brand new medium clay bar. So when you open your clay bar, it comes wrapped in these two little plastic films. So you just want to make sure to take those off. Now you're not going to use the entire clay bar, so don't grab the whole thing and start clay barring your car. What you want to do is cut off a small chunk. I like to cut about a third of the bar or even a quarter of the bar, depending on what you're going to be working on. Now in this case, we're just going to be working on this hood so that we can show you the 50-50 results. I'm going to put the rest of my clay bar back in there. And the reason I'm using a small piece at a time is simply because if I were to drop this, it would render it useless, simply because there's a ton of debris, dirt, grime. You drop your gum on the floor, are you going to pick it up and start chewing it again? I hope not. So that's why we're using this. That way we also have a backup. So if we drop this, we have more than enough clay bar to rely on. So now that that's all good and done, you want to knead your clay bar into a little patty, big enough to hold with your four fingers, kind of like so. All right, so now that we're done with that, we're going to grab our clay luber, make our way to the car, and start claying the hood. So whenever you start clay barring your vehicle, you want to make sure that the surface is cool to the touch and you're working out of direct sunlight. That way your clay luber doesn't dry up on your paint. And that also makes the best use out of it. That way you're not wasting your product, spraying the entire panel, the sun dries it out, and then you kind of waste all that product that you sprayed on the other side of the panel where instead you should have been at. So right now we're going to grab our clay luber and we're going to saturate the surface that we're going to be working on. Now I'm going to do this half of the hood in one pass. So I'm going to spray a nice full amount of product onto the surface. And then I'm also going to spray some onto my clay bar here for added lubrication. And then whenever you're claying, all you want to do is simply glide your clay bar left and right. You don't want to do any of the circular motion, just in case if you get any contaminants stuck in your clay bar, hard contaminants. If you start doing that swirl motion, you're going to be left with a lot worse looking paint than what you started off with. So go left and right. You can go up and down and do a crosshatch motion. And one thing you'll notice when you start clay barring is it feels very rough and it actually might feel like you're scratching your paint. Don't worry guys, you're not scratching your paint. This is simply picking up all the embedded impurities that are stuck within the pores of the paint itself. So once you start working it in, you can also spray a little bit more if you have to. You're going to notice that as you work it in, it's going to get gradually smoother and smoother. And then once it's very smooth and your clay bar is simply gliding left and right without any kind of resistance, you can stop claying, grab your microfiber towel, and wipe it off. So right now, I'm kind of getting to that point right now where this whole half of the hood is done. Like I said, this hood we didn't know how bad it was, and I think we made the right choice with the medium clay bar, simply because all we did was about, we gave this half of the hood about 2 passes so far, and it seems like it's doing the trick. And then another thing when claying is don't apply heavy pressure. If you apply heavy pressure and you have something on your clay bar, you might run the risk of scratching it. So whenever you're clay barring, just simply glide it. Don't put any kind of added pressure. Just use the pressure of your hand to keep it down flat on the panel. All right, guys, so now that we're done, I actually went ahead and just clay barred the entire hood, just kind of save some time. Grab your clay bar, put it back into your clay bar holder. That way you don't drop it. And then you want to grab yourself a microfiber towel and buff off the excess of the clay luber. Now, as you guys can see, I used a ton of clay luber. Now, the only reason I did that is simply because I don't want to damage the surface. And really, when you're clay barring, it's better to have more lube than no lube, because obviously you don't want to cause any more damage to the paint. So clay luber helps out a ton with keeping the surface slick. That way you can easily glide your clay bar left and right. And then one last thing I did forget to mention is that clay bar can actually be used on a variety of surfaces, including your paint, glass, chrome, glossy wheels, headlights, tail lights, on a variety of surfaces on your vehicle. All right, guys, so now that we are done clay barring the hood, we're gonna start polishing. Now, right here in front of me, I have our V line of compounds and polishes. Now, I know you guys may be looking at this line and asking yourself, do I really need all these products? Well, I'm gonna break them down so that you guys better understand them and really know the differences and what sets these products apart. Now, this line is a multi-step correction system. So depending on the paint itself, if you have super neglected paint, or maybe you have pristine paint, this line of polishes and compounds is perfect. Now, the reason it's perfect is simply because it has a ton of potential. Now, the V32 is the most aggressive compound in this line. So if you have extremely neglected paint, heavy scratches, heavy swirls, paint that has no shine at all, that has heavy oxidation, extreme water spots, this is what you want to start off with. Now, it all is on a case-by-case basis. On this vehicle, we're not entirely sure what exactly we need. Now, V34 is a hybrid grade compound, so this one isn't as aggressive as V32, but this product is more of a mild compound, and it does break down into a finer polish as you work it in. Now, we also have V36, which is a strictly light cutting polish. So maybe you have a newer car, it's not so neglected, maybe you have a light scratches and swirls, kind of like what you see right here. V36 can be a great option to go with as a one-step. If you do need to go more aggressive, you can go back down with either a V34 or a V32, depending on the condition of the paint after you finish using it. And then finally, we have V38, which is a final grade polish. This one has virtually no cut. It's more so to shine the paint, refine the paint, and bring out that ultimate clarity. Now, this line, like I mentioned, it's great to have because you have a full spectrum of cutting options and refining options, and that's why we're using it today. Now, we also have other lines of products like C4 and P4, which is a great two-step correction when you're looking for incredible results in the shortest amount of time possible. However, it all depends on the condition of the paint. So it's not to say that you need to use every single one of these products in order to achieve crystal clear paint, because odds are you might not need them. And honestly, I don't really think we need them all for this paint. So for that reason, I'm gonna start off with V36. Now, V36 is that light cutting polish that I was mentioning to you guys about. And the great thing about V36 is you can use it with a multitude of pads. You can use it with a white pad, which is a polishing pad, to achieve a fine cut, or you can even use it with an orange pad, which is a cutting pad, to achieve a deeper cut. And this is personally one of our favorites here at the Detail Garage. V36 with an orange pad. It's a great one-step correction because you get a nice even cut from the orange pad, and this product is not super aggressive in the first place, so you get a nice fine cut and level of refinement in one step. So we're gonna start off with V36 with the orange pad, do one pass on the hood, inspect our results, and figure out what else we need, whether if we have to go more aggressive or if we can just go with V38, top it off, give it that final polish, and finish off the paint. All right, right guys, so right now we're gonna set up our machine. Now the machine that we're using today is our Torque 15 DA polisher. This has a 15mm throw. It is a dual action polisher, so it spins and oscillates at the same time, which is gonna be great for paint like this that's not super neglected, and it's gonna give us that nice level of refining that we want and looking for. So we're gonna flip our machine over. Now we're gonna be using the orange pad like I mentioned with our V36 light cutting polish. Now whenever you put your backing plate on, you wanna make sure it's centered as best as possible. Then press down on it so that it nicely hooks on to the backing plate. And then we're gonna grab our V36 light cutting polish and apply about 5 drops of product. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Close that up, set that down. Pad conditioner is a must whenever you're polishing. This is gonna keep the foam nice and cool. It's gonna allow it to not build up so much heat and friction, which can lead to burning the paint. So pad conditioner is a great product to have in order to make the best use out of your product. And all you have to do is simply spray about 1 spray, depending on, if you're doing this the first time, this is the first time that we're actually about to start polishing. Once you start polishing, if you want to add some more, if you feel your pad kind of heating up, kind of flaking a lot of that product out, if it starts dusting, you can spray some pad conditioner on there to kind of help reduce that. So now that our machine is all set up, let's go to the car, start polishing. All right guys, so before you do anything to your paint, make sure that you secure your wire of your polisher. Now I like to wrap it around one side of my shoulder and kind of lean it on the other side just to make sure that it doesn't, start hitting the sides of the vehicle, which you definitely don't want because, these wires, they're hitting the ground, they're on the ground, they're picking up dust, dirt, whatever, and then if you have it rubbing against your paint, it's not gonna be a pretty story. So just make sure that your cord is far away from your paint and then you can start polishing. Now the first thing that I'm gonna do is actually start blotting out the product onto the area. Now I'm doing this simply because I wanna make sure that we have the even amount of product throughout the entire panel. Now you see right here, I have a heavy concentration of polish. Over here, I have barely anything. So in order for us to have the best polishing experience, we wanna make sure that this all has an even amount of product. So that's why you wanna blot it out. And then you can turn it on to speed setting 1. I like to turn it on in the area that has the most compound and polish. And then turn it on to speed setting 1, spread it out quickly. Don't do it very slowly. You're not working in the product right now. You're simply distributing it throughout the surface. All right, so now it's all nice and evenly distributed on this right side of the hood that we're gonna do. I did forget to mention we masked off the hood just so that you guys can see a cool 50-50 of a polished versus uncorrected side. I also taped off these right here because they have these little plastic pieces on these windshield wipers and we don't want to get the product on there. And we didn't take the time to mask off the headlights because you can actually use this polish on headlights as well. So if your headlights are looking a little kind of hazy, oxidized, you can actually use these products on headlights as well. So we're not going to worry too much about that. So now we're going to go ahead, set our machine back down, and then we're going to be working it left, right, up and down in a crosshatch motion. We're going to be using a higher speed setting, and we're going to do this until the product becomes clear. Right now you can kind of see it's a heavy white haze on the paint. We're going to do this until it becomes clear and translucent, and then we'll wipe it off with our microfiber towel, show you the results, and then we'll go from there and figure out if we need to go more aggressive or if we want to go finer. All right guys, so now that you guys see we've fully broken down the V36, we're gonna grab our microfiber towel and start wiping it off so that we can inspect our results. And right away, you guys, I can tell you right now, this thing looks much better right away just from first glance. I'll get the LED inspection light in here right now so that you guys can see up close and personal just how amazing this product did. But you can definitely tell there's much more clarity on this side, has much more of a deeper gloss. You can actually see the metallic flake in that paintwork, which looks incredible. This car just looks regular gray, but now after polishing it, you have all this nice metallic-y kind of sparkles coming out at you, and it looks phenomenal. Alright guys, and just like that, we just finished using our orange pad with our V36, and I think we got some pretty incredible results. So now what I'm thinking is we definitely don't have to go more aggressive because we're pretty much at about 90% correction. We can get it looking better with our V38, so there's really no need. It'd be counterproductive for us to go more aggressive and then go back up the line because we don't need to. So we're just going to go ahead and use our V38, take off our orange pad. We're going to put our white polishing pad on our machine and do the same exact thing. We're going to get our V38, put about 5 drops, work it on the surface, wipe it off, inspect our final results, and then we'll see you guys at the end. Alrighty guys, and just like that, we're completely done with our before and after. So right now we're gonna pull off the tape and show you guys these final results and what they look like. So right off the bat, like I mentioned to you guys already, there's a huge difference in terms of overall clarity here. You can definitely tell that this right side that we polished, it looks a lot deeper, has more clarity, looks more the color that it should be, and most of all, it does not have those scratches and swirls. So you can definitely see right up close this incredible before and after results using the V-line with V36 and V38. All right guys, so we're gonna wrap up the video right here. As you guys saw, we achieved some pretty incredible results using our V36 and V38. Now all that there's left to do is to finish off the rest of the vehicle. So we're gonna go ahead and finish off the rest of the vehicle and see you guys in the next part of this video series where we show you guys how to protect and maintain your newly found shine with ceramic coat. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to give us a huge like, and if you aren't so already, make sure you subscribe so that you don't miss out on our future videos, and turn on that post notifications bell so that you know when the next part of this series comes out. As always, my name is Joey, this is Chemical Guys Detail Garage. I'll see you guys next time.